Hello and happy Thursday, anybody that is tuning in and watching as I start to do some stuff on some terrain. Uh, the other day when I was on here, I was building uh, little pipe systems for engineering this part of this one space station for one of the scenarios in Sqwürmish. Today, I'm going to start cutting up pieces, gluing stuff down, and diving into that. As I do this, if you have any questions about Sqwürmish, anything else, feel free to jump into the comments and say some things. If you have questions about the Kickstarter, anything else, anything Vascrim related, I am here to just make stuff, run my mouth, and hopefully get a lot done in the process. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the other camera, which is close. One of the things in the Grim Place Discord, Dagamit had sent a video that showed somebody using this textured paint, this spray paint that I've used in the past, and I just hadn't actually thought to use it in terrain building. But one of the things that I picked up from watching that video is that the person that was using it did it on some like junction boxes for electrical work. The ones they had were super cool, right? I really dug what they did with that, but I couldn't find similar junction boxes here in the US. But I got some other ones, so I'm going to take some screws out and stuff like that. And I'm going to do that before we start gluing bits and pieces to the various pipe train. And I've got a bunch of pieces of pipe train, and we're just going to snip and clip all these different bits from Gundam models, stuff like that. All the pieces that just connect the real pieces together, snip that up and glue it down, and try not to get my fingers stuck to them in the process. Hey, Daryl. Hey, Christos. Yes, pipe terrain. It's super easy and fast, and it quickly can build out a scenario and make it look cool and easy. So the first thing I'm going to do with this, I guess I don't even need to worry about these junction boxes right now, but I kind of want to. I just want to get these screws out so they're out of the way in case I decide to start gluing any bits and pieces to these while we're in there gluing stuff down. Daryl, how are things your way? Christos, how are things your way? And I'm chatting with them over on the Facebook. If you are here in the YouTubes, I will chat with you this way as well, and I'll try and repeat any comments just so that there's any cross-pollination. It's not like I'm just speaking into the void. So I'm taking these pieces off, and this has like a little flag that was mainly held to make sure that the screw stayed in. I'll probably repurpose that later and glue it down somewhere else. There's no sense in wasting it, And this, I'm just going to take this other screw off as well, so it'll sit down flat. Awesome as always, just working in the store, waiting on DM Dave to come out of the office. Well, hopefully he's getting a whole lot of writing done. And Christos is getting ready for Gamma. Awesome. And he says hello to YouTube. Christos, I will be there Tuesday. I'll be driving up early Tuesday morning to get in the afternoon and start loading in before my first meeting late Tuesday, as I couldn't come for the entire show. I also bought a smaller junction box, still similar, but I thought like having two of these could easily be good little buildings, especially if you start to look at them as compared to like the scale of models. Minis, let's see. Nope. Let's tilt this camera up a little bit. Bloop. Sorry for the shakiness. But I think that, completely blocks line of sight, but also gives some good coverage. Also makes it harder to get up and down because it's a higher up section. He's always writing yes. Speaking about Dave, yes, he should be. Hey, Raymond over in Facebook. I am indeed. I hope you are as well. Thank you for joining in. I'm just ready to do some terrain building. I've been doing a little bit of writing and a little bit of design work this morning, thinking about some of the ideas that are going to go into this month's Patreon stuff, which I'm excited about. And then I was also thinking about, okay, how can I take that scenario that's going to be in the RPG side and turn that into an extra scenario for Sqwürmish that's not necessarily going to be in the Sqwürmish book, but maybe for something later. Because always taking those ideas and turning them around. keep twisting this thing right here. Okay, so this screw's almost out. I do need to take this sticker off. And this blue one that I got here, this little weird junction box, I thought there's one part in one of the scenarios where there's like an above ground elevator, but it only has room for like, you only have room for 2 minis. So I was thinking if I were to make doors for this, this would actually be this would be the right size to only allow that number of people in and out per round. Daryl, you're not going to Gamma, are you? I can't remember. I know I've asked you before. I'm just going to pull this sticker off of here. Doesn't matter if there's a little bit of sticker left on here when I spray paint it and start gluing stuff down to it. I just won't glue any extra bits to the sticker part because that would just be weird and more likely to fly off. It was exciting today. The Sqwürmish Kickstarter hit 300 backers. It's a nice round even number, which is rad. No, you have to run the store. Yeah, I get that next year. Yeah, someone has to run the store, right? Got to keep things moving. Okay, so now it's time for me to move my keyboard out of the way, just so I don't start dripping glue and bits on it. We're gonna turn this back down. So with this, I just like keeping all the sprues and random bits that I have from like I've never built Gundams, but I've in recent years been buying Gundam kits just so I can break them up and glue things down to stuff. So like seeing that this is here like this, move my fat hand out of the way, and seeing that it can be right about there, I'll just grab a knife. This has a box cutter blade in it, so it should just give me a little bit to cut into and crack it down. And then I have something that I can just strip some glue into and start putting some texture. It'll start to quickly add texture to it and get things moving. Conversation topic: what's been the biggest challenge making Sqwürmish? Let's see, what has been the biggest challenge? I think I mean, because it uses the Forbidden Psalm rule set, which was already pre-existing, so that part was pretty easy. I think the biggest thing has been trying to make sure that it works not just for solo mode, co-op mode, versus mode, but also make it so that it can work and scale for 3 to 4 people. And it's crazy. Then last night, my son was talking about what could you do to actually jump it so that if you had a much larger group, each player only had 1 character in a crew. Because crews right now consist of 5 characters. But then if you scale up to 3 people playing, you knock one of the characters out of your crew, so you only have 4 people. And then if you jump up to 4 people, you knock your crew down so there's only 3 people in your crew. So I thought that was a really interesting take to like be like, okay, I mean, one, it's going to be harder because this is on a 2 foot by 2 foot square. So the space around there is kind of limited. DD7, hello. Thank you for joining on the YouTube. What is the cost of my materials? Are you talking like these the pipe fittings? Because honestly, I did not keep track completely. I'd have to go back and look at receipts. I got like one big bucket of these corner joints, and then the elbows, and then I got a few of the three-way connectors, and I got 2 like 2 foot long 1/4 inch pipes. I got 3 of those, just instead of getting the giant long one that I could cut down myself, because I didn't drive my van to the Home Depot that day. And I wanted it to be more manageable in our smaller family car. But it couldn't have been too much that I spent, because I didn't want to spend a lot on this. You know, trying to keep terrain lower cost is important. I'm gonna drop a little dab of Gorilla Glue on here. If one thing, I went back to the hardware store today, and I totally forgot to get more super glue. So hopefully I won't run out and be like, well, that was the shortest stream ever because I can't glue anything down. Okay, this one feels like it's got a little bit more in it. Now I did one of the paints that I bought today after watching a video, the video that I had mentioned that Dadgammit had posted in our Discord, in the Grim Place Discord, was some paint that is textured paint. Like it has little flex stone in it. And damn, if that spray paint wasn't like $16 just for that can. So hopefully it'll be a super time saver. Okay, I'm going to drop that on there. And so that little pipe just adds a little bit of texture. Gel super glue is a god. Yes, it is. I mean, because the super liquidy stuff is like, as if I don't make a big enough mess as it is, when it's super runny, it's just all over the place. Just need to give it like little teeny tiny dabs. Overall total cost of materials, that is not something that I generally keep track of, because then I would probably get upset with myself for how much I've spent. Okay, now this is going to be problematic. Oh, I went back for the wrong one. But I will start considering that in future builds to keep track of, to try and make sure that I can communicate that, because I guess that would definitely be an important thing, because, you know, being able to do this on the cheap is very important. And then I am going to drop this real quick like this, and I'm getting comment in Discord. I'm gonna try and hold this in place and hope that I put enough glue down, and see if I can figure out where this is. Cheap texture paint paste, by the way. Mod Podge acrylic paint and sand is a good shout. Yeah, that is good. I was just looking for super fast, like it sprays on. Where is it? It's this Rust-Oleum stone, so you should be able to see right there where it gets that like gritty texture right away. Hang on, let me just check and make sure there's no emergencies in the Discord worlds. Oh, so where am I streaming from? They're asking. So I'm streaming I'm streaming all over the place, right? I'm streaming on YouTube. I'm streaming on my personal Facebook page where a lot of the comments are coming in. I'm streaming on the Creature Curation Facebook page, and I'm streaming on my Instagram. So it is all over the place. I'm trying to hit it in all the places and get seen wherever I can get. You're in the same boat. Yes, I really should start keeping track of cost of this. So now you can see I've already started to get a little bit of text. Let's see, up here, a little bit of texture on top of there. I'll just keep cutting little bits and bobs and putting things on here until I feel like it's done. And usually this can go really fast if you're not like yammering a whole bunch and just chatting with folks. Yeah, that spray paint's super cool, but I can see, especially for cost reasons, doing it with Mod Podge and some sand for sure. And so I'm just gonna start cutting some of these pieces, all of these sprues, just down into little sections, knowing that I'm gonna end up gluing a ton of these to a bunch of pipes. So I mean, when I said I made a bunch of pipe bunch of pipe pieces the other day, there are like gobs of them, and I've got more. My hands are too small to carry all of them. We'll definitely probably need to get some more super glue before the day is out, or figure out where I may have put some. I very easily could have hidden some somewhere, and I'm just not remembering it. One of these like guns that were on here, I just snapped in half because I don't want it to actually look like a gun. Tommy, now you're in the right place, it seems. Thank you for joining. I hope things are going all right on your side of the world. Yes, it's I can see the love the trash bashing. Thank you, Tommy. I see your comment now. That I must have missed that somehow. It must have had some sort of weird delay coming through on the StreamYards. So I'm using StreamYards to be able to stream to all these different places all at the same time. Although it may make it seem like I'm able to bend time and space, I cannot. It is the magic of software. And soon, the next stretch goal for Sqwürmish, we're going to get 3 bonus scenarios in the last war setting by the creator of Forbidden Psalm, which all this stuff is based off of. Although I have changed some things up a bit. I've altered some of the rules and made it what I felt like, what felt more like how I wanted to play it a little bit. But there've been pretty minor changes and pretty easy to adapt to. And I think most people that are familiar with Forbidden Psalm will be able to play it the way I've written it, or be able to play it how they're used to. Even cheaper, ditch the Mod Podge, just use PVA glue. Oh, totally. I do happen to have a lot of Mod Podge laying around, and I don't know how I kept getting more and more containers of it, or if it just started if it's like Gremlins where it started multiplying once it got wet. Does Kaylin Minis over at Rascals know about Sqwürmish? We just emailed back and forth yesterday, Christos. Thank you for asking. I need to see about getting some prototypes over their way. We've been a little bit behind on getting things out and getting the early prototypes done. Like Saul just mailed me a bunch of the other prototypes. There were some of the first test print runs of some of the other minis, and just put them in the mail so that I'd get them to be able to have them for Gamma. Goonhammer too. I do not know Goonhammer. Hang on. That's why I keep a notepad close by, so that if there are great bits of knowledge coming up, I can write them down. Goonhammer. See, the mini side is super new to me, Christos. I only recently started getting into this primarily because my son's started getting into more skirmish games, so it's all very fresh, and I don't know. I've been so focused on the RPG side, it's like I'm making all sorts of new friends, which is awesome. You'll bring me a list and some other bits. Oh, thanks so much. That would be fantastic. Okay, so as you can see off in the distance, I've got a big pile of bits. I think that's enough bits to keep moving for a little bit. Sometimes it's good to do things in kind of assembly line fashion where you get a whole bunch of stuff, one task done, so then you can move on and keep jamming through the next round of what you want to do. And I'm not going to put too many pieces on this one. I just want to put enough that once I put some paint on as well, it'll really convey the idea that it's not just, PVC piping. A good quick dirty paint job will hopefully remedy that. But oh my gosh, I need to see if we have any more super glue in here. Come on, because I'm going to be, well, I mean, I could hot glue it, but that's just going to fall right apart, and nobody wants that, especially me, because we all know that I'm rough with not just my builds, but everything else. So the chance of, I got some super glue on that. Got that up. Let's get some fun piping over on this side. Let's see, I'm gonna do something over here. I'm gonna just put a little dab down this way. A little doop. Little doop. One right here. This is where I need tweezers for my fat nubby fingers, so I will not accidentally get the super glue all over myself, which I do a lot. Boom, there goes the Gorilla Glue. Tilt it up. Oh, love that. Thank you, Marcus. This was a prototype I did just to see how it would turn out going through Printful, and I was very happy with it. Are you coming stateside anytime this year, Marcus? Fat fingers equal more mistake equals more grimdark. You are so true, Tommy. Oh no. Yeah. I think that's just fact. Except, come on, Brian. Get unstuck. Yeah, that didn't want to go. I was being a little too conservative with my glue because I was worried, like, okay, I'm definitely going to run out, which just means I'm going to have to take a little break in a bit and do a quick run to the store. Once my son gets his dropsies. Here we go. Okay. Gonna defy gravity and just let it sit like this. Sure, it's not at a right angle, but who cares? No, not likely this year. Really want to though. Yes. Hopefully next year then. I want to put some more things over here. I do, but I also want to, I think I need to do some on the inside too so you can see it from both sides. When working with stuff like PVC pipes, quickly hit it with some sanding paper. Makes everything, including paint. Yes, I did some sanding on, some light sanding on this outside after these were all put together. So most of the spots should have a little bit of grit to them. I didn't do a super heavy sanding on it, but I definitely hit it with some. Let's do that here. I think part of it's also the curvature of the pipe with the flatness of the sprues is part of what's you got to go. Okay, Marcus, I will see you next time. Thank you for jumping in. Yes, good tip, Tommy. Thank you for that. All right, let's see. Let's get another sprue going. We'll get it going. Sometimes I forget that the camera is, it's like the camera itself is wanting to just sag down a little bit. I think part of it's just how this little phone holder works. Okay. This one I'm going to hold in my hand so I don't have to worry about picking it up. I can just squeeze out the little stream of glue. A little bit will just help get things going. Okay. And then hold that in place for a moment or two while it starts to set up. There we go. Okay. So I think this one's going to be fine as is for this, except I just knocked that off. That one did not want to stay. Maybe it's because it's got that extra little bump on it that's going to make it stick out. I think maybe, oh, it's getting my fingers together though, getting the glue on it. I'll leave it like that and see what happens. Just move this over here. Now I really need to focus on this bigger piece, right? This one in the scenario is in the corner. So this one is going to have some attention on it. I think I'm going to do some other weirdness to this one. Like I've got some plastic wire coverings. It's just like a partially sliced into pipe. It's just plastic that you can open it up so you can put wires inside of it to protect the wires. So I'm going to see if I can get my blade inside of it and just give it a slice. Of course, I can never manage to cut this stuff straight, but that's okay. Just want to get some of it so that I can glue some of it down and maybe give a little bit here and there, even if it doesn't look quite right, even if it looks like it's falling apart. Slice a little bit more of this off. Anyone doing anything exciting this weekend as it's almost here? Slice this bit, watch my digits. There we go. I'm doing that and then I'm seeing it and I'm not really in love with it. I think I almost like the idea of doing a coil around here more than that. But that being said, I think if any of these things will work right. See if I like any of these metal coil bits. Painting your miniatures, excellent. How did that sound? How did that sound effect go? Which sound effect? I don't know which one. Avowed, maybe a cheeky bit of mini painting before heading to Kentucky. Excellent. I like that. All right, let's see if this is going to work and see if it's something that I want to incorporate into it. May not be. So these just had out in my shed. I don't know for how long. I don't know who they originally belonged to, but screwing them, they should be able to pull everything together. It should leave a very interesting the pattern as long as the paint will stick to it. Except I do not have a flathead screwdriver in here. I'll have to go and grab one of those in a minute, but I can at least do this manually by hand and see visually what I think about it and see if it's something that I'll want. So to kind of show this, it'll give this slightly textured ring if it can keep going past the initial mark. Let's see. I bet if I had a quarter, do I have any change? Do I have one in my wallet? Bet I could use that as a makeshift. Okay, got a nickel. If I had a nickel, let's see. Yeah, I can use this as a screwdriver. Sure, it's not the most comfortable one. Sure, it's great with my hands. If you want to make some more cover, hang some banners and stuff over the pipes, tissues, kitchen towels, toilet paper, wet with watered down PVA Mod Podge. I do like that. And I've got a bathroom right behind me, so I could quickly grab some toilet paper to do that. Good call, Tommy. Okay, so I'm going to do this, but I think I'm going to put this pipe fitter or this pipe clench up here. I'm going to put it right next to where that connection point is. I'm going to tighten it a little bit more. So one of the things, what I like about this is it adds this texture of the bolt. And when at the scale of the minis, it's going to look super big. But I also really like this texture that's in here that I think once paint hits it, it's going to give some good shadows and stuff. The pipes alone won't, no, they certainly won't do much in the way of covering for groin shooting. That is very true. I think we can maybe drag some drapes and things like that over top of it once the other bits are glued on. But yeah, I do like that idea a lot. Regarding your camera falling, the sound effect with the camera falling. Yes, I can't even remember exactly the noises I made, but I tend to make sound effects for too many things, even just when I'm not even thinking about it. I'm going to hold this one at each end and try not to glue my finger and my thumb to it. Just go almost to the edge. Get a little bit of extra pipe on there, and maybe we'll glue one of these pieces, whoops, that was on this onto here. Maybe this side. I like that side. Plus, give a little more surface area. Doing it like that. Hey, Jim, what's happening? I jumped into your stream for a little bit. I tried to let you know that the chat was up, but for some reason you couldn't see it. I hope you're doing well today. I think I was in just until you were just starting to paint the blue over top of what had dried with the gray sponge painting. Yes. And now I'm just gluing some things to these pipes to try and add some texture and make them a little more fun. I'm happy with this piece, and since I've got so many of them, I'm going to do another one on this side. Like I said, I can't quite remember whose these were or why they're in my shed, but that's okay. I think they were for some sort of radiator or some sort of hose clamp. There's the nickel. I'm going to see if I can loosen this one up without completely. Oh no, there it went. It opened it all up, so I need to do the whole thing. So I'm going to bring this in. There goes my glue. Set that back up. Tip for everyone: you know the super glue activator stuff. A spray bottle of water does exactly the same. Hey, that's pretty cool. I did not know that. I like that. Tommy is coming in with all sorts of good tips. And I'm just going to keep screwing this in with my nickel until I decide that it's too much and I need to run out and get a real flathead screwdriver. Yes, okay. I can do this one by hand for a little bit faster action. This one, I'll keep it right at the corner like that one as well. I like that kind of being right next to where the pipe fitting the elbow is. So that is not. It was going really well with the nickel at first and the other one. Now it doesn't want to quite grip it. There we go. And just spinning around and around. I'm hoping that I can get most of these pipes done today without having to go to the store to buy more super glue. And then I can spray them and get ready to paint them. And I'd really like to get enough of it done, because that's another one. Once that one's done, I can actually photograph the layout of that scenario and start doing the graphic design part of that scenario. I still have a couple of pieces for scenario 2 and 3 that I need to build. Well, scenario 2, just like a couple things that I need to build for that before I can actually photograph it. Sqwürmish is exactly 300 backers. Yes, it's may have missed it, but I assume this is for another Sqwürmish scenario. Yes, this is one. This is for one where you're going onto this space station, and on the space station there is a mutagen ooze leak, and the objective of that is to stop the leak in that scenario from happening, because each round the ooze keeps spilling further, and every time you interact with it, either stepping into it or stay in it for the round, you have to roll versus getting a mutation, and then you also have to fight the mutant abominations that are in the scenario. And this one, it's part of a 3-arc act where you don't go back to your hideout in between. So you want to try and make it through each scenario, or have enough like med packs and things like that to try and help revive yourself as you're going into the next one, because it's going to keep going at a pretty fast pace when you're playing all 3 of the scenarios. Yes, it's time to break that 300 backer mark and onward and upward to 301. But yeah, the past couple of days we've been starting to see a good bump. There's a lot of factors, I think, to that. Getting a handful of videos out, including the one that Jim did with our playthrough, a couple other videos, I think is helping get some notice. Starting to see some articles popping up around places, which is really awesome. Okay, I'm starting to see this coming together. I want to bring some in now that I'm starting to put some things on top. I also want to bring some things in along the inside, especially since this is going to be kind of a focal point. This is going to be what's in the far corner, and this is going to be where characters need to get to shut down the leakage. How will you represent the ooze movement? It's going to be in. I was thinking, for me personally, I might do something where I get a piece of clear, like a semi-translucent plexiglass cut to like a slightly organic shape where it goes out and there's like inch marks. So it comes in from the corner, but in game, it's going to be like 4 inches and then it seeps out another inch. So it's just going to be measured and you'll just have to measure it that way. But for me, because now I kind of want to be able to see everything. I think I think that's how I kind of want to do it. Haven't tried Forbidden Psalm yet, but how difficult or easy did you find making a hack of the system compared to making a hack of Morkborg like you did with Vastgrim? It's pretty much it was super easy to hack. You know, Morkborg was super easy to hack. This was just as easy. There were a handful of things that I had to do specifically for it because because there's things like blasters and pulse rifles, all my battery operated stuff. I also wanted to factor in the worm infection in this, and it's significantly easier to get infected by worms in Sqwürmish than it is in the RPG, I think, which is part of what I wanted, because I wanted it to really feel like gross and over the top. But converting, I think, was pretty fast. Like there wasn't a big learning curve. I think the main thing that you really have to do is just play it a handful of times, and then you'll see exactly how they were able to convert it from Morkborg to Forbidden Psalm, and just as easily convert anything that you've created in the Borg sphere into something similar. Yes. Let's see. Okay, a couple more on this one, and then I think this one will be done, and we'll move on to another one. But if Tommy, if you're thinking about doing anything in it, it's really easy, and it's fun. I've thoroughly enjoyed getting into this side of the hobby, and with all of your crafting, I'm sure that you would be thrilled doing it as well. Hey, the Time War Game on Instagram. Thanks for joining. Excellent. Oh, I might, said Tommy. Good, you should. Oh, shoot. So I was paying attention to the words on the screen and not to the big drippy drops of glue that were coming down out of this. So, well, I'm going to put a lid on this and try and salvage some of this glue real quick and get something on here and off of my finger. I always like to think I can multitask with the best of them, and then I get super glue just dripping down my finger. Or fingers, I should say. Okay, let's let that dry up just a little bit. And try that again. Do a do-over with that one. Except this time, I think I'm going to get a slightly longer piece. Do this here, and then I think this one may be done. So you're never really going to be paying too much attention to this outside of this one, because that is going to be in the far corner, at least in this scenario. I'm sure I'll be able to repurpose this and use it in other scenarios as well. But for now, I think I'll just get this longer piece and get this in play. Again, I just put a little bit of pressure with a knife down onto the sprue, and it put enough of a cut into it that I could just pop it and let it go. I can never use super glue without gluing my hands together, says the Time War Game on Instagram. Yes, no, I can't either. I like to think I'm more dexterous than I am, but no, it never quite works out. I also think this may be getting down to the bottom of this Gorilla Glue bottle, because all of a sudden it's going from what was nice and jelly, or maybe I just didn't shake it properly, and now it's getting super runny. Which also means it's going to probably have a harder time sticking. Except my fingers. Come on, get your... Oh, come on, thumb. Come on, both of my thumbs. Both of my thumbs are wanting to stay, but the piece of plastic is not. See if that'll stay, not drop off. If it'll stay for a minute or two, then that means it's going to stay for good, right? I just don't want to keep telling myself that. Okay, so this one I'm going to go ahead and move over to my table over here that you can't see, and I'll bring in some new stuff to keep working on. So I got this one, which is a little longer. It's got a T in the middle to connect it. We've got a shorter just end to end. I'm really enjoying these things, so I'm just going to keep using these. Except maybe this time, instead of it being on the top, I will put it around the side, just for a little bit of visual difference when putting this stuff together. I'm going to try and tighten most of this by hand if it will let me. Post-apocalyptic terrain, yes. The Time Warm game. This is for my game Sqwürmish, a rules-light sci-fi horror skirmish game. Most of humanity has been infected by one of 6 different strains of parasitic worms. It's bizarre, weird, over the top. The RPG itself has been said it's like if they took Guardians of the Galaxy and threw it in an Alien movie, and this is a skirmish version of that. So you have it's based off of Forbidden Psalm. So you're using you have 5 characters in your crew, or what would be the warband in that. And so this is I'm for the book itself, for the layout, because I use collage style art in the RPG. I'm building the terrain, and then I'm going to photograph it and do the photographs and bash them up in the computer and work that into the layout. So it's important for me to make the terrain and be able to photograph it and put it all together. So that one didn't tighten up as much as I wanted it to, but it's going to be just fine for this, especially once it's spray painted and put together. But I think since I've got one down on the bottom here, I think I want to do one over here to make it so it's asymmetrical. And then we'll start gluing some other bits and pieces to it. It's been awesome having so many people jumping in today and commenting and talking. Definitely makes it a lot easier than me just continuing to ramble on for the length of however long I'm building stuff. Although, could use a little coffee. All right, let's see. Here's my nickel again. Again, having the right tools handy makes everything easier. So this, this nickel is not the right tool, but that's okay. I did enjoy building terrain a bit more than mini painting. Yeah, coming from Instagram. Yes, I definitely the painting minis is very new to me. I'm much more accustomed to building or painting things much larger. So I'm getting used to that, but I'm definitely enjoying that. And using models/miniatures as artwork is awesome. I used a few of Witchmonger's, check them out on Instagram, miniatures on Morkdod. Oh, awesome. I'll check that out. Yeah, it's I think that like the art style of the Vast Grim books really kind of encapsulates all of everything that I do, from the graphic design side to the sculpture stuff. So being able to figure out how to translate that into the skirmish too was important. I did enjoy. Oh, gotcha. So I think that's being able to keep doing that and find new and different ways to work the imagery in is fun. Okay, it's almost tightened all the way. I'm really going to need to go get a flathead screwdriver, I think. Yes, that would just make it a lot easier. I will be back in 2 seconds. Don't go well, 2 seconds is short. I'll be back in 30 seconds. Don't go anywhere. I'll even leave the camera and microphone on. Okay, was I gone too long? Did everybody leave? Are you still here? All right. Came back with a flathead screwdriver. I knew there was one in our junk drawer in the kitchen, and my office slash studio room is like connected through to a hallway to the kitchen. Wow, this is going a lot easier. My heart will heal in time, Brian. It's okay, we're here. Thank y'all. And hey, Brendan, thanks for jumping in and watching. I'm making some terrain for Sqwürmish. And just gonna tighten these up now that I actually got a screwdriver. Next time I'll need to make a cutout of myself to leave in my place as I run to get a screwdriver or something else. Or if it's any longer than that, I'll put up the back in a couple minutes sign for the bio break thing. Okay, so we've got these hose clamps on here. They're going to be a fun element. So it gives it a little more weight because the PVC is super light. Now it's time to glue my fingers to this PVC and see what happens. Let's see. We've got, so this piece that I snipped off has a nice little curve to it. Maybe I think just actually putting it on where the elbow joint of that PVC is will be a good natural placement of that. And need to find my glue. Put a little bit of that here and there. And just gonna give it a little squeeze. Oh yeah, that glue is definitely flowing more now. Want to try and conserve some of it. Come on, there we go. Drop it down. There we go. And now we're going to see what else we got going on this one. This one's a direct pipe with a little bit of a dab on it, a little tip on it. I think this would go well. Or Imager, look at this beast, an edited kit bash miniature. All right, hang on. Glue fingers this way. Will it work on here and pop up a new window? It did. Ah, yes. That looks fantastic. It's almost like you almost can't even tell that it was a miniature anymore because of how distressed you did it in the photo editing program, whatever program you use. Are you using the Adobe suite? Are you using Affinity? Are you using something completely different? Okay, here we go. No fingers lost in that one. Hooray. And let's see, we still sitting at the 300 backers right now on Sqwürmish. My Wacom pen does not want to make it all the way over there. We are indeed. Okay, now to get all of the other windows back that I wish I had. So it's weird because I have to keep Facebook open in a separate, trained in, oh yeah, unfortunately Adobe, gotcha. It took me like a good 3 months to break myself of Adobe and go full tilt into the Affinity suite, which I've been super happy with. Like all of the books past the core Fast Grim book, maybe one other, have been in the Affinity publisher, and I'm super happy with the photo, like their version of Photoshop. Overall, I've just been thrilled with what they put out. But I had been using Adobe since a long time, so it definitely took a little bit of rethinking. And I tried at first to do it on the iPad, and that was a mistake. Like learning the tools on the desktop version is definitely the way to go before you try and figure out the like abbreviated tools that are on a tablet. People tell you that, you should do that. You've considered it for months, just seems like a big jump. Yeah, you should do that. Yeah, it was. And like I had it I had it for a long time before I actually finally made that leap. Um, so I get it. I totally get the trepidation around it, and it is extra work, especially when you don't have a lot of extra free time and you're trying to just teach yourself as you go how to do it that way. Doing a little bit of glue on this guy. Am I getting enough glue down? There we go. Old eyes. Come on, old eyes. There we go. Is this Affinity? Adobe is infested with Gen AI, even Acrobat Reader. It's terrible. Yes, Affinity is what I've been using, Christos. That's what I've been using. Affinity Publisher for the book layouts. Been using their photo program and their design program that mimics Illustrator. All right. I think that's got enough little extra bits and pieces once it gets painted up and distressed, and especially if I put some extra cloth and stuff over it, like Tommy had suggested. Ether and Orc was done in Publisher, and illustration in the graphics layout tool. Yes, yeah, I've been really happy with it. Every now and again, like when they come out with a brand new, bigger release, I end up waiting till they have like the next patch, because I've been burned a couple of times where I've had bigger publisher files with like multi-pages where it just chokes. So I tend to wait until like if 2.0 comes out, I wait till like 2.1 or but working on 3 projects right now, the Switch will have to wait. Yes, I get that too. And it's scary once you do. Like, it was only in this past like December, I think, when I finally stopped paying Adobe and like the subscription ended. So like I still had it as like a safety blanket. But now all of my older programs or all of my older files, if I want them, I have to import them in, and then I have to do a whole bunch of cleanup to actually make them work, unless you export it like an IMDL file or something like that. Yeah, I heard that. And all in all, it's so much cheaper. Adobe is crazy expensive. Yes, it sure is. But you know, it is if it's what you know, and it is the standard in the industry and has been for years and years. It's hard to say goodbye. Let's see, putting a little glue down on that one, and I just wanted to drop that right there and hope that'll snuggle down and actually stick to it and get warm and stay in place. Got another little elbow piece that I'm going to consider figuring out putting that either here or put it over here again. I like that over there. I'll do it on this side. In Denmark, taking any graphic design education, you'll learn Adobe. Yeah, I get that. And like this is how old I am. When I was in the art institute that I went to, we were trained on something called ClarisWorks, which predated Quark Express, and which predated InDesign, which the only reason we were trained on ClarisWorks was because the school got them for free. It was a total scam. It was a waste of a semester taking that class. Okay, so it looks like I've hit an impasse where I now have I'm now out of glue in this bottle. Do I have glue somewhere else in my office? Is it hiding from me? I'm going to have to look shelf to shelf. Hold this up to the light. I was foolish not getting more glue today when I was at Home Depot. You are empty as well. Let's shake the hell out of this and just see if anything happens. Brian, will these pipes be painted grimdark or grim magenta? I don't know exactly yet. I haven't fully decided. I was thinking that it will probably be a mix of silvery and pinkish metal, maybe, but I'm not totally sure. Sometimes I wait to figure out the paints until I actually start painting stuff and just kind of see where my fancy takes me that time. Okay, that did not. 2 bottles down. Let's see. I'm going to step over here. You can still hopefully hear me as I check to see if I have any. Is there anything in you? Let's see. Let's see if there's anything in this one. Sometimes I don't throw things out, and then I'm like, "Ooh, there's paint, or there's glue," and then there isn't. So we'll see. Please, oh please, oh please. Pink with rusty cracked beneath. Yeah, I do like that idea. I also just bought that speckled paint, so I may put that on and then do some metallic over top of it, so it looks like it's rusted. So it gives it that nice pitted texture to it. Okay, I'm going to take a quick break. I'm going to go on a magical search through the rest of my house to see if there's any other glue that can be found, and I will be right back. I hope to see you upon my return. I will put up a bio break image. Show. Boom. All right. I will be back soon. It did not take long. Doodaloo. So look in the mess drawer in the kitchen. Everyone's got one of those. We do have a mess drawer, but super glue very rarely finds its way there. My son had some next to his primer paint on at his desk. So haha, just means I need to go and buy some more. Maybe later, probably later today. Let's see if I can not get this on my fingers. Haha, yes. This one flows. Got the glue. I need to throw out those other 3 bottles so I stop trying to trick myself into thinking I actually have paint or I actually have glue. Boop. Drop out of my fingers and drop onto this pipe. There we go. Come on. Okay, now stop trying to grab my finger. There we go. All right. Here we have it. And I'm going to keep putting some pieces on here. I think I want to glue some stuff along the top because then it can be seen from either side. I think I'll want to try and doll this one up pretty well with a bunch of different bits and pieces. Jim, did the wall color come before or after Avascrim? It came after it. So my office is in the one of the bedrooms in our house. And it wasn't too long ago that we switched rooms around. As my kids are getting a little older, this is the smallest bedroom and it was my daughter's. And so my office was in the front corner room of the house, which gets all the light, which was great when painting and sculpting and doing things like that. But so my son moved in there. My daughter moved into the room that's like on the other side of this wall. And I got this room because I knew that, as kids get older, they need more space. So this one, I painted this wall and this wall. It's called Beauty Queen is the name of the pink color by Bear paint. And then yay, 301 backers. Thank you for mentioning that, Tommy. And then I've got these 2 walls are gray. So it's not super overpowering. And the walls that I look at are not they're not that vibrant all the time. John, add a hole to shove people into. In my office or in the pipes? It's good to have you here. I love his van. Great. Oh, I think what Tommy's referring to. I had a different van that I completely wrapped pre PAX Unplugged a couple of years ago, and sadly that van died on the way home. So now my van is just a big white van that you can walk into. But one day it will be pretty again. All sorts of friends in here. Thank you all for being in here and chatting me up. I'm gonna glue this one down over on this corner. Doo-doo-doo. You're not up to date. Sorry. No, that's okay. You didn't. I tried not to complain too much about the transmission going out and getting the transmission fixed, and then the transmission going, like that was in Richmond, Virginia, and then the transmission going out again in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and just having to let that van go off into and just die. But yeah, they were sad times, but that's okay. Always looking forward. No need to look back. Gonna glue this little piece here. So if anybody wasn't watching earlier, these junction boxes had these little like wing flaps on them that keep the screws from gives the screw something to tighten into. And as I unscrewed those, that gave me some extra little pieces to glue on here and there. So that's fun. Looks like a microbrewery owner. Yes, indeed. And we've got, oh, I forgot to jump back into the comments on StreamYard. So if anybody's commenting on YouTube instead of Facebook, because I've got conversations going here on Instagram, I will try to make sure that people know what I'm talking about. I'm going to cut another little piece here, just because I want to be able to have a little part that goes onto this T here. And then I think this side, this might be good enough to be ready to get prettied up. Well, that is too kind of you. His beard isn't dumb enough to own a microbrewer, and I'm too handsome. Well, thank you, John. Drop that in. And now I've got family make squeaking dog toys outside of my office door to heckle me because I can't imagine it's our dog doing that. Oh, shoot. Yes, have some zip ties. Thank you. I actually just grabbed a new bag of those specifically for this and totally forgot. Thank you, Jim. All right. Yes. Okay, here we go with some zip ties. I'd even cut the new bag open and everything so it would be ready to go. Yes, I love adding zip ties to these. They are so good for texture. Just gonna cut. I'm gonna go ahead and cut a bunch of pieces. This zip tie down to a bunch of different pieces, and then I'm gonna get rid of the end where it's flat because who needs that? That doesn't add anything really. And then we'll come in with the some of these textured pieces and put some of these. I may even grab some of the pieces I already finished up and slap some of these on because that's fun. Yeah, I can't believe I forgot that. Okay, so get the ribbed side out, right? That one's a little long, so let's go with this one, see what this is like. We'll just connect it here, put a little, try not to get too much on my fingers. Plastic straws and zip ties, yes. I do like the plastic straws too. And like, I even had where I had found some like some of those very old plastic stirrers that have like the stirrer straws that have like two tiny straw holes in them. Those are fun since they have that extra like little bevel inside of them. Oops. Okay, so we've got that going on there. That'll be good once it's painted. I'll go ahead and put one on this side just because, sorry, put one on this side because it'll be another little fun element. Depending on the lighting and my old eyes, sometimes I need to get certain angles to make sure the glue's going on and make sure I'm not overdoing it with the glue. Sometimes I don't know my own strength when squeezing the Gorilla Glue bottle. Okay, we're going to move that one over here. Say that one's done. We're going to bring this big one back so that we can put some of the zip tie magic into it. Put that one here. And that'll be fun. I'm going to watch my digits. Try not to get, whoa, that was a big squeeze. Just kind of drag that out a little bit. Try and spread that Gorilla Glue love further down that zip tie. Woo. Drop that on there. All right. Now we're gonna do a couple more. This one can go away. And I need to I'll go ahead and get a couple more zip ties and slice them and dice them to get them ready to go. And do a little slice in here. Just applying a little pressure, not really slicing so much. I'm never quite as comfortable slicing with the big box cutter blade in the pocket knife as I am with just having a true X-Acto blade. And is my X-Acto blade in here or is it out in the other room? Let's see. I don't recall. I'm going to do a couple of shorter ones and maybe do like 1, 2, or 3 all together. So with that, I'm going to want to, something else that works really good for this that just don't have in here right now are like wire cutters. That makes it super fast. You just snip, snip, snip. Let's see. Tiny X-Acto blade. Hey, X-Acto blade. Old trusty X-Acto blade. I'm much more comfortable with that because I've used them so much more. Boop. Although that blade probably needs to be changed. Slice. We'll do another one about the same size, and then we'll glue those in and then see what else we want to do. Man, you want to hang out and make stuff with you, Brian. I know we are too far away from each other. One day it'll happen, though. I know I keep getting the invite to come for Staple. It's just such a long distance. There we go. There's a good indentation there. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3. I'm going to put these on this end. I'm going to put all 3 on. So I'm going to turn this way. Now my thumb and my index finger are feeling like they just have the glue, like just super glue caked on. Just go slow and steady. I'm going to do this one in the center. I'm going to give this one like a little like mohawk of piping detail. You would offer your place to sleep, but you don't have a spare room anymore. I get it. We have a very old house, and the only place that would be a spare bedroom is this office, and it's not super big, and I'm always in it. So I totally understand that. Very rarely do we have guests actually stay over at our hut. You can share your bed. Come on, John. Come on, man. Your partner made us like that, Tommy. But your spare room is now your father-in-law's room. Yep. I totally understand that too. My dad lived with me for a little while, years and years back. Oh, no. Come on. Don't do that, Brian. There we go. Let's see if I can salvage the glue. I think I can. There we go. Okay. So I think I may what I might do after this is done, once we're not on camera, I may experiment a little bit with a blowtorch and slowly melt these down so the ends of this kind of meld into it a little bit. But we'll see. Do that outside where I'm not sucking in the fumes so much, because that's not a good thing. It's not a good look for anybody. And then we can also, with the zip ties, it doesn't always have to be like straight across this way. We can bend it and bring it around as long as I'm willing to hold it with my, or we could even, could we do the backward zip? No, well, we could do it and glue it and then snip it. Suck the fumes, you coward. Yes, we know what happens when you inhale the bad stuff. It's not good. Do I want to do it like that? Just kind of getting a look for it and seeing how it feels. No, do it. Okay, guys, I will bend to peer pressure and suck in the fumes of the burning plastic, all while streaming just for you. Do it. I love the peer pressure, guys. It's the best. Feel like I'm in a bad 90s after school movie. Okay, I'm going to bend this around here just a little bit. Okay, this one's going to take the glue. I'm going to try and roll this around just a bit, just to try and get it curved. I wonder if doing it kind of like you would, like on the edge of something, to give it like you would ribbon, it would kind of start to bend it up a little bit and make it a little more pliable, so that it's like it's going to, hopefully I won't have to grasp on quite as much with my nubby fingers. Okay, here we go. Let's make the glue happen. I'm going to lay this one down, and it's going to be like a little rocking horse of glue. Come on, a little more. Don't want to overdo it. Don't want to underdo it either, especially when I get it go on the ends. Okay, I'm going to put this up, and I'm going to gently, carefully flip this. Then I'm going to put that on the top. I'm going to know that I'm getting that to set up a little bit there, and then bring my fingers around and hope. Oh, I can feel my fingers sticking already. Oh, it's like my fingers want to be a part of this pipe. Gross. Yuck. Oh, all right. I think that's going to work. Not 100% like perfect angle, but that's okay. I don't mind my stuff not being perfect. It's totally fine. Okay, gonna move this one over here. Do we want to? I think we want to add zip ties to all the things, at least little bits and pieces here and there. So I'm going to bring back the 2 other pieces that don't have zip ties yet, and still have a bunch of other pieces that still need to go. So, this is not a short project making all of these pipes, because I made a lot for this. Eric, howdy. They do make small hobby exhaust hoods. They do indeed, from the YouTube side, but I'd have to figure out where to put that. My studio does not have a whole lot of space. I'm thinking maybe in the future, my shed that currently has a bunch of my products may be living somewhere else. So I may be able to turn the shed into more of a workshop space area. Again, I dropped a zip tie. I will be right back. And I returned. I know it felt like I was gone forever, but then I was back. But yes, out there I might be able to consider a vent hood, because I think I could probably easily cut a hole in the wall and pump that out to the outside world. This one probably just needs a couple little dabs because I think it's going to hold itself in place with the bits and pieces here. It's just a little dab in the two ends. And then the center dab, dip, dip, dip. Okay, let go, let go, let go. Oh, not let go there. Not supposed to let go and fall upside down. And then the fat-fingered clumsiness begins. Dun 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 dun. That's okay. That worked out just fine. Just a couple little dabs of glue on my cutting mat. But I know that this is the dirty side. Yes, this is the dirty side. Then we'll do this other little bit over here. We'll take this one that I've still got, this little piece. I'm going to have to cut even more zip ties. And going to put a little dab here. Whoop. All right, here we go. And 1, 2, 3. Jump. Put that in. And there. Oh, nope. My thumb went with it that time. My thumb took it with it. It was like it was stuck to me. It wanted to be a part of everything I was doing. Okay, so do all of them need zip ties? I don't know. Maybe, yes, no. Little bits and pieces of them, perhaps. Oh, that just popped right off. Maybe it was because that glue was running out of that other one. Let's put this thing back on here. This piece needs to be on here. Now it's got the glue it really needed to support itself. There we go. Also hit two of the flat spots on the PVC piping. And let's see what else we can put on here. And for anybody that's watching that may have jumped in, I'm making terrain for Sqwürmish, my rules light mini agnostic skirmish game that's currently on Kickstarter based off of Forbidden Psalm. And even though it is minis agnostic, we do have some awesome miniatures that are part of the campaign, thanks to Malevolent Minis Saul Blair. Oops, drip, drip, slide it on. Gotta go. It was great hanging out. Thank you, Tommy. Thanks for jumping in and being a part of things, and for all your suggestions. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'm going to put this little bit that was from the end of the zip tie. That will make a good little standalone piece all on its own, all on its lonesome. And then we got one little more bit of zip tie piece. Go ahead and drop this over here. And when I meant drop this over here, I meant put it on the place where I put the glue down. But now as my hands are covered in dried, caked super glue, it's getting harder and harder for me to grasp things like I should. Okay. Yes. We've got 4 of the pipes done. I only have 7 more to go, but most of these are smaller, most of them, than some of the other ones. So I still have quite a ways to get going. So let's see what we have going on. I did get a message real quick. I just need to check something. Okay, excellent. That was just something I need to check out. And let's see, I do need more pipe. I need more pieces these are just the little in-between bits, the sprues from Gundam kits. I just buy Gundam kits on the cheap just to break up and use for kit bashing. I don't actually build Gundams, but I like all the plastic bits and pieces and shapes that you can cut up and put into things. Especially when you can get them at places like Michael's when they have sales, and really get a lot of plastic bits for the buck. So all of a sudden I heard some strange car door outside, and then I realized my son is going to his pottery class. I'm just going to keep slicing and dicing and cutting and going until I have a big pile of plastic. Ooh, that one jumped off and decided it wanted to try to attack me. Almost got me too. And my breath, my story brain is running on low energy. Anybody have any questions about what I'm doing, about the Kickstarter, about Sqwürmish, about anything else? In the movie biz, those parts are known as greebles. Ooh, I like the term greebles. Greebles. Okay. I'll have to try and remember that. We'll see if my brain will commit it to memory. Makes me think of Meet the Peoples. What differentiates Sqwürmish from Forbidden Psalm? Like, what gives it the vast grim distinction? That is a good question, John, and thank you for that. So one of the biggest difference is that when you are in close combat with anyone, there's a chance that they're infected with Grim Parasite. Much like in the RPG, there's a chance that they are infected with worms. So there's, like, for instance, if you're fighting the Grim, they have a GP of 17. They have a Grim Parasite rating of 17. So if you're in close combat with them, each time you're in close combat, you have to roll a toughness test and beat their Grim Parasite number or be infected. There are things like rebreathers. Say you have a rebreather, like the lowest end rebreather, which is a rebreather 1. You get to roll 2 d20s and take the highest roll to try and beat that 17. But chances are, if you're doing a lot of up close combat with Grim, you're going to get infected. There are ways to remove the worms, both in combat and in between scenarios, which I think adds to it and adds to the fun. But there's also the chance, like, before each scenario that you are infected with a worm, you have to roll to see whether or not the worm is working with you and you have a parasitic pleasure, or if the worm is working against you and you have a parasitic pain. And just like in the RPG, there's the 6 different types of worms. Now, I mentioned the 17 for the GP of the Grim. That's a fairly high extreme because they are riddled with Grim Parasite. Some other things that you may encounter may have a GP of 10 or 6 or something like that. So it may not be as high, but the chance of infection while playing this, especially in the campaign mode where you're playing all 13 scenarios that are in the core book, chances are you're at least one member of your crew is going to get infected, but probably many more. Let's see, any plans for vehicle rules or miniatures? I do not know that yet, Eric. That was coming from the YouTube side. I've kind of thought of that a little bit, but because we currently only have Starship rules in the RPG side, I thought if I did any vehicle rules, I would start out with the Starship side and go from there. And I was kind of thinking about having it where if after this book, the next book may have some of that where you can get in a Starship in between scenarios. And so, like, not all the scenarios are Starship based, but some of them might be. Then, I think, car rules and things like that may be more well suited. Like if Wasteland Degenerates or something else did a certain spin, or if I expand into some rules like that, or on some sort of planet where there's more like car type vehicles. But I think I'd want to conquer that in the RPG side first, and then maybe bring that in this way. Let's see. I've been using those these connectors. These why can't I think of it now? All of a sudden, the hose clamps on all the others. So I'm going to go ahead and add this here as well. But I do like the idea of adding the starship stuff. But I think it also adds it. I think it turns it into a very different game that way. But we'll see. It could be very similar because I mean, you could be running from a grim star fleet and trying to escape that, or maybe you're trying to maybe you're trying to outrun if you're playing 2-player. Maybe you're trying to get to a location first if it's a scenario between a scenario, and there's things that you're going to encounter and that you have to fight in the starship, and whoever gets to the location first may have an advantage in the next scenario. That's one of the things I wanted to try to make each of the scenarios when they interconnected. I wanted to have the story and the objectives and goals be different and have it feel like, try and have each one feel like it's got its own game to it. So it's not always like the capture the flag element. It's not always kill the this bad guy element. And it's not always, hey, even though it's me versus, if we're playing in a versus mode, even though my crew is against another crew, that doesn't necessarily mean I just want to take them all out. It means I want to get the main objective done before they do. But happen to take one or two of their crew out in the process, well, they just shouldn't have been in my way. This one's almost tightened up to where I want it. Oh, sorry, I'm not showing that at all. So I putting that hose clamp on there just to give some texture. Squeeze. Another little squeeze. And then I'll do another one with this one, another hose clamp. I'll do it on the side again because I like having that on the side. Because we're great questions, John and Eric. Thank you for keeping the conversation going. Slam some coffee to make it through this evening. Tonight, I'll be doing some more chatting at my Patreon. We have our monthly hangout session where we just catch up with each other and find out what everybody's been up to. And so I'm looking forward to that. And I am, like, this morning I was working on the next, like, this month's Patreon scenario and like what the things are going to be that folks will get at the different levels. And I really think I think the bonus thing, whoops, almost jabbed myself. I think the bonus freebie thing, because there's always something free for anybody that follows on Patreon, even if you don't financially follow it. I think it's going to be a Sqwürmish scenario in that. Sqwürmish novelization when? Well, I mean, since you've already written one novella, I mean, they kind of go hand in hand, right? They're set in the same universe. Do we make the adventure that's going to be in the back of the book both an adventure for Vasgrim and a scenario for Sqwürmish? Is that making you sad, John? Or do you just want to do one for each of them? Because if you want to do one for each of them, I mean, that's totally A-okay too. Especially if you decided you wanted to like write the novella around like maybe a faction, like somebody that, like, since you're playing one of 4 different factions in Sqwürmish. Nah, it was supposed to be a weird face. Excellent. How are we going to keep effing going, right? Yes, I know. There's so many options. Okay, the glue that's sticking to my hand. Feel it. Okay, time to glue some stuff. More glue. I'm going to glue this one up top because I like the idea of that little T being at the top. I can connect it right here and do just a little bit. Dude, yes, let's talk about that offline. Of course. I need to pick up the kiddo from school. Excellent, John. Safe travels. I will catch you next time. Thank you for tuning in and being a part of this quest. that glue is down. And then we're going to put a little bit more over here. Let's see, is this one going to work? No, I'm going to do this one. I'm going to do this one on this side. It's got a little piece sticking out that I think it would make it hard to glue down if I tried to do it the other way. Glue, squeeze, come on. Come on, glue. There we go. Little dab will go. Okay, now I'm just going to jam-a-ling along that one up on there. And that's there. And now, I like this big sprue. I'm going to glue that one on. I'm going to drop some, whoa, that was a big old dab. Drive that down here and here. I'm going to drop that in. All right. This piece is going to start coming together rather quickly. Just a couple of bigger sprues on this, and it starts looking like it's almost ready to go. Gonna put this over here, or do I put it over? I'll put this one over here. So I'm going to hold it there. I'm gonna do a little, now that I'm standing and it's getting into the later part of the afternoon here, a little heater under my desk because this room is one of the colder rooms in the house. And for some reason it's been cold this week. Now my toes, as I'm standing here in my shoes, getting a little warm. Turn that heater off. So that was not quite as straight as I'd like it to be, but too late now. The glue has already kicked in. Okay. I'm glad I'm getting a use out of all of these hose clamps that I had. I think that's a good quick addition to this, especially since seriously, they've been in my shed for years. It's not like I'm doing anything with any hoses. Watch, tomorrow I'll need to clamp down some hose in a vehicle for some reason after I've applied them all here and then primed them. Okay, this one is going to go without zip ties. This one's got plenty of stuff on it. I'm just gonna move that one over here. We'll bring in the last of the bigger pieces. We'll get this thing going, and then there's just a few small ones left. All right. Let's see. I'm going to start this one off with some zip ties. And I'm going to cut the tops off of these because those tops seem to work just fine. Having something fun with those to do. Cut that top off. Cut that top off. And then we are going to slice these and see if that did a big enough indentation that I can wiggle these back and forth till they snap. That one didn't do anything. Basically, I'm cutting off the area that's just flat, that has no texture on it, and just kind of wiggle that a little bit. So now I've got the zip ties that have the textury area in here, and I'm going to add some of these to this piping just to give it some fun little texture for once it gets painted up. I'm going to mark that. Hopefully I'll still be able to see it with my old eyes. Where'd you go? Where'd you go, little cut? Come on, little cut here, little cut there. Maybe I can do it and not chop my finger off. There we go. Nope. There we go. Just need to give it enough of a notch that I could wiggle it back and forth and then bend it so that I can slice it that way. I want to get these where they're pretty close to the actual exact length of this pipe. That'll just make it a little bit easier for gluing it down and having it look right. I know I talked about taking a blowtorch or like to some of the other plastic. Whoa, there it went. That one shot way off of there. It's like, shoo. So go ahead and add that on. I think soon, maybe after this piece, I'm gonna take a break and then see about maybe coming back later, depending on how I'm feeling about it. But these are starting to come along pretty well. I may go ahead and even prime the ones that we've already put together just to see how they turn out with that textured paint on them, and then decide if I want to do. Whoa, there went glue on my finger. See if I want to do what Tommy had suggested and drape some fabricy type stuff over it to give it more of a, so that people can't shoot from underneath of it, to give less chance of being able to attack that way. That one got way too much glue on my fat fingers. Okay, I'm gonna spin this time so it's just, there we go. That's smarter. Move it to you so it works easier. That seems to be a much more logical way. Oh, I almost forgot to add these. I keep forgetting the hose clamps to this. I think this one I will add closer to here and actually put it in here, and I think that'll be all right like that. Start tightening it up by hand, and then tighten it up by the screwdriver, which I put over here. I really hope these hose clamps give me the texture that I envision them giving. With the little cuts in them, it gives a vent look, but it also, like, once there's paint and it has that layer underneath, it should, if I can dry brush on top of it, it should give a natural shadow underneath of it, which I think will be pretty awesome. Or I could get real sloppy with the paint. It won't do any of that. Only time will tell. And a little twisty, twisty, twisty. All right. One more twist. And one more twist. I can still see the gaps in the metal, so I'm going to try and see if I can get that tightened up a little more. These hose clamps are also super old, and they're very misshapen, so they are not exactly as great as it. Whoa! Try not to stab myself as I look at the other screen. All right, I think that's as tight as that one's getting. I think I need to take a little bit of a break. So for those of you that have tuned in and hung out and chatted in the chat, either on YouTube or on Facebook or on Instagram, thank you for hopping in and hanging out while I make this weird stuff. I'm going to keep doing this. I will hopefully be back and doing some streaming tomorrow again, because next week I will not be able to do, I probably won't be able to do any of it, maybe Monday, but the rest of the week I'm going to be at an industry trade show called Gamma Expo. So I'm going to try and get a little more in, keep things going with Sqwürmish, keep letting people know that it's out there on Kickstarter and that we've got 3 weeks left. For anybody that tuned in, thank you very much, and I hope to see you again very soon.